on the verge of getting wiped out, treated like a cheap power-up by some unhinged goddesses. Suddenly, all that despair turns into pure rage. And just like that, everything changed. The infinite return system awakens. Welcome to the Xuanwu continent, where Xiaomu was treated as a human power bank, getting clowned and pushed around by these weird sects draining his energy to boost their own stats. No hope, no future, just another piece of trash to them. But this is where it gets good. Whatever he hands out comes back multiplied by 1,000, unlocking the Qi Yang sacred body, a build cracked enough to crush the sky. Those exact same guys who walked all over him are gonna feel the weight of a forbidden power. Even the sect saints will find out their little hubbies now calling the shots. With the draining phase over, he's the one making the rules. 1,000-year prodigies, legendary masters, they're all just stepping stones now. Get ready to see how a busted transmigrator shattered the system and became the most OP guy in the world. The story kicks off in the Xianwu continent, right under the red moon of the Shang Yuan sect. Sweating cold, our MC begs the senior sister to let him out of that creepy room. She leans over the guy, whispering that there's no way that's happening. With a wicked smirk, the villain calls him husband and drops that the wedding is today. Mockery fills the air as she asks if he's gonna run away from his own ritual. Zhao Mu tries explaining he came from another world, but she only wants his cultivation energy. And the crazy lady still plays mind games, proving she's definitely no wife material. 1 year ago, he arrived in this place as a noble's kid, engaged to a princess. But the folks from this bizarre sect decided to kidnap the poor dude out of nowhere. That was just the start of his nightmare. Soon enough, he finds out his life force is the perfect snack for these guys. 0 people care about a mid-disciple, making the kid a human battery. Getting overpowered, he ended up as an item for them to level up their wild techniques. Pushed to his limit, the boy coughs hard, feeling his energy fading. Yet the woman just watches his despair with a dark look. The guy gathers his remaining breath, biting down hard on the enemy's hand. She merely laughs it off, claiming that falling by her hands is a huge honor. Pulling out a flask, the scumbag reveals a pill that pushes energy to the max. Smiles while warning that her breakthrough is near, demanding everything from the guy. Without a word, the villain forces the thing down his throat, making him swallow it. Meanwhile, the kid screams for help in his own mind as the power boils. Stuck in place, he cries inside for failing before even living his life. Fury takes over, and with clenched fists, he decides he won't accept this ending. And that's where it gets crazy. The system pops up out of nowhere, asking him to connect. Slightly dizzy, the boy stares at that blue sphere, not understanding a thing. Reaching out, he remembers all the suffering he endured over this past year. Always waited for a golden opportunity exactly like this. With fire in his eyes, our MC grabs the energy, celebrating his chance to survive. He holds on tight, sensing that destiny is finally shifting. But the woman mocks him, thinking his resistance is just a fake act. Grabbing the villain, our hero warns that now they're going all out. In the blink of an eye, he grabs her collar, leaving the enemy in shock. Even so, the crazy girl smiles, telling him to bring it on. Charges into the attack full force, taking advantage of the opening. Without taking a step back, he swears he's the master of his own life now. The girl just laughs, heavily underestimating the power that just awakened right there. By the next morning, we see the calmness of a boat docked at the pier. A peaceful vibe takes over the sunlit scenery. Inside, the MC is passed out from exhaustion, while the woman stretches out. Looking at the guy, she praises how well he handled the energy extraction. Before vanishing, warns she'll return if he pulls through, leaving the poor guy drained. Zhao Mu is so wrecked it looks like he's hit the end of the line. Man, right then the system activates, giving him a seriously OP holy body. A wave of golden light floods the kid, healing everything and leaving him fresh. Right as the bad guy levels up straight to the 3rd stage of chi refinement. And the power spike continues as he instantly skips to the 4th stage. Seeing the golden marks on his skin, he freaks out over his new physical power. Our boy can barely believe the cracked strength rushing through every inch of his body. However, it dawns on him that if the sect finds out, he's super toast. Aware of the risk, the kid decides to keep his cover so he doesn't get clowned. Walking through the courtyard, the guy plans to score spirit stones from his training. But since the system is active, he wants to aim high and leave those cheapskates behind. That life of picking up crumbs just doesn't fit our hero's plans anymore. Determined, he locks his gaze to put this new strategy into practice right now. Meanwhile, disciple Wang Chan trains his cultivation in total peace. The guy stays super focused on his meditation, clueless about what's coming next. Calculating quickly, the MC decides to give the dude 200 stones to test the system. He just tosses the pouch of the dude's head, making him jump out of his skin. Upon opening the package, the poor guy can't believe it when he sees that pile of crystals. A huge smile spread across his face, figuring some elder noticed his hard work. And just like that, everything changed. The system chimes, announcing a 500 times return. Instantly, 100,000 stones hit his account, dropping the kid's jaw. Zhao Mu still finds the cash low, swearing that anyone who trashed him will pay with interest. Suddenly, a brilliant idea hits him. If he hands this cash over, does the reward double again? To test the scheme, he searches for an infinite money glitch right there in the interface. Getting more stones out of thin air, the dude down below shouts he found a rich sponsor. Completely amazed, he swears up and down that some powerful soul adopted him. Our MC pokes the system screen every which way, getting zero response. Then he realizes the AI behind this thing won't let him exploit any glitches. Someone calls out to the boy, and he runs into a very unexpected visitor. Holding a sword, the girl stares at the hero, shocked he's still breathing. He recognizes the figure right away, stuttering the name Luchi, heavily startled. Super polite. The guy bows and immediately drops a senior sister Lu. Remembers clearly that this girl is from the outer sect, and also trains that dark cultivation art. In reality, she was one of the few who tried to help when the kid first got here. However, after getting yelled at by another villain, the girl completely vanished off the map. Without any hesitation, she grabs his wrist, telling him to cut the small talk right there. Pulling the boy, she announces the rival is busy, and now it's her turn to practice. The crazy girl summons a giant flying sword, straight up ordering him to hop on. Since the thing wobbles, the MC grabs her waist, making the girl super awkward. Up high, she notices his energy, but he plays it off, saying he just suffers. Dead serious, the girl warns that if he sticks with that fox, he'll end up gone for good. With that, promises she'll wipe the floor with her rival so she can take our hero away. The kid accepts the care, but deep down feels annoyed about being treated like a trophy. Arriving at the inner sect peaks, the duo flies straight to a fancy building. With major style, they land the sword right in the premium area of that spot. Once inside the room, she tells him to hold on because she needs a bath. Alone in there, the protagonist lets out that little smirk of someone plotting something. Luchi hops into the wooden tub to cleanse her energy. Feeling the warm water, she starts letting go of all the tension in her body. With a sigh, she thinks nobody will bother her now, needing to focus on cultivation. Man, right then the MC pops up behind her out of nowhere. The poor girl nearly jumps out of her skin. Super annoyed, she asks what he wants, but the guy says they gotta speed things up. He immediately calls for the training, and the girl, dying of embarrassment, ends up agreeing. During the energy exchange, the two drop praises about the level of techniques used there. Shortly after, the vibe calms down, leaving just a single petal floating in total silence. Taking a deep breath, the boy says he didn't expect to see her using such a heavy art. Heavily flushed, she asks to change the topic, and he agrees with a laugh. That expression of hers turns sad, revealing she's getting married next month. But no one saw that coming. When she drops the groom's name, the MC almost falls backwards. In his head, this Long Tianshang is a built different genius, reaching master level before 30. Freezing up, the kid remembers the guy masters the sword and holds global fame. Suddenly, panic sets in. Because if that big shot finds out about this, he is finished. Luchi calms our hero down, revealing her fiancé had an accident and lost his power. Gently comforting him, she admits she would never do this if she didn't care about him. Touched by that confession, the boy simply sighs her name. Without wasting time, he pulls the girl closer and the vibe completely shifts. They keep sharing cultivation energy in perfect sync inside that room. From the outside, their silhouettes prove they're grinding hard for her breakthrough. Hours later, sunrise lights up that quiet bamboo courtyard. Passing out on the bed, the girl is entirely drained after all that effort. Right beside her, our hero smiles as the system notification chimes. He notices the collected energy generating an 800 times return. And that's where it gets crazy. The power erupts and golden marks glow across his skin. Soon enough, a prompt confirms he just hit the foundation establishment stage. This proves that at this pace, fearing the rival's family is a thing of the past. Glancing at the passed-out girl, a brilliant idea pops into his head. The guy pokes her, asking for a reward, while she merely mumbles in her sleep. Completely drained, she admits defeat, hands over a flask, and begs for some rest. Popping the lid, he finds 10 valuable pills and is floored by her generosity. With a huge smile, our MC already starts scheming his next move. Figuring out his donation plan, he realizes the perfect test subject is right there. Carefully, he places the medicine right into the sleeping girl's mouth. The panel immediately confirms that a second-tier pill was gifted. Hitting a 30 times multiplier, the reward gives him a third-tier item. But the kid just rolls his eyes, finding this drop way too weak for his taste. He runs the numbers, remembering his 9 remaining chances while hoping for a bigger prize. Right next to him, the girl stays knocked out but seems to love the medicine's flavor. This is where it gets good. He repeats the dose and hits a 3,000 times multiplier. Shocked, our hero watches a golden flash burst out of her body. Flashing a huge grin, he sees green energy materializing right in his hand. The system confirms a level 7 marrow cleansing pill just dropped. He gets super hyped knowing an item like this is pure gold in the sec. After all, besides buffing his foundation, this beauty forces a massive talent power spike. Knowing his current body is solid, it still means nothing next to the sex monsters. Without a second thought, he swallows the pill to become a true prodigy. Instantly, an overwhelming surge of power explodes inside the kid's stomach. Dropping to his knees, our MC feels the energy boiling through every vein. He races against the clock, meditating while his body flushes out all the impurities. Waking up to the stench, the girl coughs and tells him to go wash up right away. Right as he touches the bathroom door, the hero's hand releases a blinding glow. After showering, the kid walks out completely refreshed and sporting a massive glow-up. Highly shocked, the girl asks if he magically leveled up to a master. Squinting at him, she notes that simply leveling up wouldn't leave his skin looking so flawless. Cold sweat drops as the guy realizes explaining the system drop will cause major drama. To play it off, he corners the girl against the wall, claiming their training caused this. Then, flashing a smile, he takes the blame and offers another free session. Calling him crazy, the poor girl resists, but he insists it's purely for her breakthrough. Shortly after, she passes out again, completely wrecked by exhaustion. He finishes getting dressed, sneaks out while telling her to rest, and heads back to base. Exiting the room, he hears the system announce a 10 times return on Luchi's energy. The kid feels the difference right away, his body moving way lighter and faster. With a smirk, he decides to buy a flying sword so he can explore the world. Arriving at the sec market, he sees the place packed with disciples everywhere. Zhao Mu takes a quick look around and picks out a wooden box. Forged from celestial iron, the blade is highly detailed and sharp enough to cut through anything. 30,000 stones is pretty steep, but he's curious about the system's return rate. Out of nowhere, somebody yells out calling him a pretty boy. He turns around to face a giant brute and 2 goons blocking his path. Instantly, the MC remembers this meathead is always obsessing over Chu. Recalling their past, he remembers the guy tried picking a fight before but got blocked by the fox. Furious, the huge dude grabs his collar demanding some answers. Mocking him, the boy drops a simple "so what," making his rival completely lose it. The brute's fist starts glowing with a heavy red aura fueled by pure hate. That little joke blinds the scumbag with rage, swearing he'll destroy our MC. But get this, the kid catches the punch single-handed, not even breaking a sweat. Flexing hard, he claims he still has a lot of living to do, completely shocking the giant. Enraged, Natiz screams they aren't on the same level and unleashes more cultivation energy. Going all out, the bully throws a frantic flurry of punches, except our hero dodges them like it's a joke, finding the brute strong but way too slow. It becomes obvious the holy body is built different, easily wiping the floor with this veteran. To end this little party, the MC lands a clean strike right on the guy's arm. Fired up, the boy readies his fist to finish the fight once and for all. His punch smashes directly into the clown's face, forcing out a brutal scream of pain. Watching their boss bleeding on the floor, the goons panic over his insane strength. Right then, one of them tries using the new family name as a threat, but gets ignored. Our guy prefers summoning his newly bought sword, tossing that bad boy straight up. No one saw that coming. The blade stabs into the wall, shaving right past the goon's head. Dripping with sarcasm, the kid announces that the 30,000 stone weapon covers their medical bills. Boom! The system chimes for the donation and triggers a 1,000 times multiplier bonus. As a reward, he gets a level 5 sword, though he still considers the item kind of mid. Immediately after, he turns his back and strolls away completely unbothered. Those cowards decide to sneak attack from behind with a chain and a knife. Staying completely frosty, Zhao Mu warns them he doesn't want to hear any crying after this. In a flash, he unleashes a blue wind slash that violently sweeps everything in its path. Catching everyone off guard, the attack sends the two flying while their weapons shatter to pieces. Suddenly, a girl radiating a red aura appears, scolding the cowardly duo. She introduces herself as Lin Hanling, making it clear she saw exactly who started the mess. The protagonist flinches when the girl stares him down with her weapon floating nearby. Annoyed, the woman points her finger and completely chews him out for his carelessness. Speaking firmly, she reminds him she already said to nip problems in the bud to avoid drama. The goons throw a fit, demanding to know who she thinks she is to disrespect their boss. Standing her ground, she reveals she is Wingeling and challenges anyone to step up. And just like that, everything changed. The guys practically have a heart attack just hearing her name. Terrified, they pin all the blame onto Nutaya and run for their lives. Right after that, the girl spins toward our hero, points a finger, and drops a heavy "and you." She then steps extremely close, leaning into him without a single trace of hesitation. The The saint insists he should start dropping her name to gain some heavy respect in the sect. Blushing hard, she whispers that if he got taken out, she'd end up husbandless. At that moment, Zhao Mu realizes his crazy girl's interest goes way beyond just his cultivation energy. In the end, the kid realizes the girl is super hooked, hanging on to his arm. Digging into his memory, he recalls her reputation for being highly violent. Deep down, he knows nobody would buy this whole cute and shy act. To calm her down, mentions he doesn't go down easy, but she claps back right away. She grabs his hand, dragging the boy right through the crowd. And that's where it gets crazy. Both of them take flight wrapped in a heady red aura. Zhao Mu is mind blown, since flying like that is strictly golden core tier. Thinking about it, he tries to calculate the girl's true cultivation rank. The duo lands in an isolated courtyard, and all that magical smoke fades into thin air. Feeling the rich energy, asks if this spot is a sacred area of the sect. Lin Hanling invites him in, making the guy question her real motives. Once inside, she explains she only drops by every now and then to chill out. Letting out a happy cheer, the girl jumps onto the bed super hyped. A side smirk hits her face as she calls him over, asking what he's waiting for. But the guy doesn't even flinch, leaving the girl entirely flushed and annoyed. Right then, she grabs 2 books and hands them straight over to him. He reads the titles covering Imperial Swordsmanship and the Profound Heartblade. Out of pure curiosity, wants to know how she guessed exactly what he needed. The saint even hands over a level 4 ice dagger, a top-tier piece of gear. Adding to that, she mentions the weapon's frost will cool down his yang energy. With an awkward laugh, the youth realizes this girl never makes a move without a hidden motive. She calls all the shots, ordering him to stay and grind for the next few days. Also warns that she's going to upgrade his badge to Outer Disciple status. That wild power level leaves the boy dying of curiosity. Walking out the door with a smirk, she drops the line about being his future wife. 3 seconds later, the door shuts, leaving the guy standing there rethinking his life. A goofy smile appears as he admits she knows exactly how to mess with someone's head. He stares at the books, gearing up for some heavy sword training. Locked onto the mission, decides to master this new art no matter what. Zhao Mu meditates and practices, surrounded by glowing symbols while holding the weapon. Ultimately, he ends up exhausted, unable to grasp why this technique is so tough. Reflecting on it, concludes the pill buffed his body, but his mind is still lagging. Out of nowhere, this weird goat-looking creature just spawns in. The purple-eyed animal just chews on some grass in total peace. Suddenly, a genius idea hits the kid to milk the system for all it's worth. Sporting a sly look, announces the creature is about to become his brand new student. He starts teaching multiplication tables to the beast, who just rolls its eyes. Instantly, the system chimes, handing over a 100 times comprehension bonus. Watching his mind hit a new peak, celebrates the success of this crazy plan. Slowly, the energy flows through his body, leaving his thinking sharp as a tack. At that very second, his vision of the world reaches an unreal level of clarity. Staring at the blade, the complex technique makes perfect sense in just a few seconds. Except it's still not enough for an outsider to survive in this dog-eat-dog world. Things get even funnier when he spots the goat, wanting another lesson. With a mischievous grin, warns that the next subject is going to be geometry. He teaches the formulas, triggering yet another 100 times return from the system. Checking the screen, finds out he just hit his own body's limit. Zhao Mu tries learning more stuff but gets hit with a limit warning. The MC then tests out the Vajra Fist, focusing heavy energy right into his hand. Gathering massive power, he gears up to strike with everything he's got. Right after, the boy shifts focus to the 6 lives technique, runes glowing on his hand. Seated inside a golden circle, he dives headfirst into this tricky magic. He then smiles and hands multiple books to another student, looking to farm the system. Spreading knowledge to multiply those sweet rewards is the exact game plan here. Meanwhile, the kid is caught off guard when his pet offers him a bone. Item in hand, Zhao Mu chuckles a thank you, saying the little beast saved the day. This is where it gets good. A purple energy reveals the name Mystic Arts of Chaos. Blown away, he can barely believe the little critter scored a technique like this. The panel beeps instantly, already starting to teach the skill on autopilot. But our bizarre headache suddenly hits the MC, while purple smoke covers everything. Our hero hits the floor feeling sick, leaving the tiny beast thoroughly panicked. Glaring at the bone, he regrets not having the body to handle such cracked power. Makes him wonder if this thing is Earth or Heaven tier, given how heavy it feels. Right as that moment, Lin Hanling walks into the room and panics seeing him on the ground. Helping the guy up, she assumes he went too hard in training, but that wasn't exactly it. The saint asks him to take it easy, place him some food on the table so he can recharge. Super careful, the girl even attempts to spoon feed him like a little kid. Soon, the kid gets a brilliant idea to take advantage of her good mood. Without hesitating, hands over the glowing bone as a gift and asks her to appraise it. She gets curious and he makes up an excuse that it was too tough, so he's passing it on. and just like that, everything changed. The system flags an Earth-tier gift and hits him with a 60 times return. Luckily, he scores the Mystic Arts of Pure Yang, a heavily OP technique. A golden scroll pops up into his hand, loaded with some heavy energy. Since the technique is a perfect match, the panel offers an auto-install, but he turns it down. Watching the saint holding the item, our MC prefers waiting to avoid raising any red flags. After all, the infusion takes a while, and he needs to play it cool. Worried, she warns of the danger, since that chaos magic clashes with him. She explains that if he tried, his energy channels would fully collapse. Sweating cold, the kid realizes he almost got wrecked messing with that bone. Yahello advises focusing on the basics, because finding the right technique is going to take time. Skeptical about all this kindness, he questions what the girl's real intentions are. Right away, the girl steps closer, begging him to stop running from the inevitable. Packing plenty of attitude, the young girl insists they share a special connection. However, the boy loses his patience, shoving the girl away and unleashing purple energy. No one saw that coming. A pillar of light shreds the ceiling, shooting straight into the sky. Out of nowhere, a mysterious woman appears, dropping the MC to his knees with pure pressure. Pinned to the floor, he stares up at the floating figure, trembling from her heavy aura. The apprentice panics, calling the woman master, which heavily shocks our hero. Feeling lost, the guy can only stutter, trying to process this massive blow. Glaring at them both, the master sarcastically asks if she interrupted their little date. In tears, Shuling denies everything while Zhao Mu stays frozen under the pressure. She then severely roasts the apprentice, reminding her she was set up to be the next saint. Annoyed, the woman complains she threw it all away just to chat up some student. Right then, the girl throws herself on the floor, begging for forgiveness for messing up. But the boss summons a blade, warning she's only handing out one shot at redemption. Tossing the weapon on the ground, orders her to finish the boy off and vanish for 30 years. Highly desperate, the youth begs the woman to spare the innocent guy's life. With zero mercy, the veteran asks if that's supposed to be some kind of threat. Hatred flares up, and she unleashes a wave of power that hits them both head-on. Seeing the girl hurt, the kid can only wonder if this crazy lady is actually going to take out her own student. Catching the girl from behind, he tells her to recharge her energy ASAP. The master gets spooked, noticing he awakened the ultra-rare Qi-Yang holy body. And that's where it gets crazy. The woman admits her disciple's chosen guy actually has some value. Right then, Juling jokes that if she knew about this power, she would have secured him a long time ago. To everyone's relief, the boss backs down, warning she'll spare the boy's life this time around. But she kills the vibe, ordering the youth to spend 30 years in isolated training at the peak. Running the numbers, Jiaomu realizes he can't lose his prize fountain for 30 years. Without hesitating, he steps forward and asks the master for just a minute of her time. Drops a bomb by asking to marry Lin Juling right in front of everyone. Shocked by his audacity, the veteran just stares at the kid, trying to process everything. She sends him back to the sect, telling him to only look for the girl once he becomes a master. Stays frozen right there, just watching their trail vanish into the sky. Taking a deep breath, he feels a chill remembering that woman could have wiped him out in a snap. Determined, he realizes he needs a ton of power to actually control his own destiny. Down at the outer sect's service courtyard, life goes on in that same usual chaos. The kid steps into his room, completely focused on grinding his own power level. Analyzing his loot, smiles in satisfaction at the new technique and the sword he barely managed to score. Right away, he asks the system to unlock the technique, and the blue screen confirms the download. As soon as he gives the command, a heavy blue glow takes over, ready to get to work. Zhao Miu closes his eyes, feeling the golden energy rushing hard to every vein in his body. Gets blown away by the speed, figuring the holy body is providing this massive boost. But the system flashes a low energy warning, asking for permission to drain more from the outside. Without a second thought, he hits OK and lets the program do its thing. Soon, he summons a huge pile of stashed spirit stones to serve as fuel. The crystals shine brightly, releasing a massive wave of power that floods the entire room. With a wicked smirk, he absorbs it all, celebrating that the power spike is finally here. Late into the night, the golden training light escapes through the window, brightening everything. Submerged in the flame, the boy opens his eyes, completely lost. Man, he goes into shock, realizing he burned through 70,000 stones in one single night. However, as he clenches his fist, he realizes jumping 3 levels at once was worth every single penny. Stepping out into the courtyard, he stretches his body and decides he needs to farm more cash ASAP. Yet the second he steps outside, 3 guys block his path, calling out his name. The leader of the bullies mocks him, claiming Sister Shu has been handing our MC way too many treats. With a nasty look, the scumbag demands a little thank you from the guy for all the help. Our protagonist instantly remembers this dude is pure trash who loves humiliating others. Recalls too that this clown already ended a rookie who tried to fight back before. Annoyed by the silence, the rival spawns an energy claw fully ready to strike. Yelling that the kid is begging for a beatdown, he charges in full force to wreck him. Completely chill, Xiaomu preps a glowing punch to teach this villain some manners. The bully goes flying heavily damaged and hits the ground hard, getting caught by his goons. In full panic, the followers scream their leader's name, checking if the man is still breathing. Full of swagger, the MC mocks their shock over his massive level up. Getting up from the dirt, the brute orders everyone to attack the kid all at once. Without wasting time, the sidekicks rush in, wanting to crush the guy at any cost. The duo surrounds him, throwing some heavy, energy-packed punches at the exact same time. From a distance, the crowd watches in shock, yelling at him to watch out for this dirty move. Ignoring the warning, he already preps a technique, gathering energy right into his fingertips, then unleashes a massive shockwave that sweeps both of them away in the blink of an eye. Furious, the big boss jumps back into the fight, transformed into a beast and lunging at the boy. With bloodshot eyes, the giant monster declares the hero's end, prepping a fatal strike, but the kid dodges with insane calmness, escaping the deadly attack by a hair. Ruthlessly, he fires back an energy blast that knocks the bully out cold on the spot. Beaten down on the floor, completely broken, the monster glares at his rival with pure hatred. He barks out a bunch of threats, telling the kid to watch his back from now on. Ignoring the trash talk, Xiaomu steps right on the guy's chest just to show who's the boss. With massive coldness, orders the giant to shut his mouth and take the L. Right after that, uses a quick trick and snatches the enemy's pouch of stones. The MC announces to the crowd that this loot was stolen and he's handing it back to everyone. Smiling, the hero tosses it all up, making crystals rain down all over the courtyard. The whole crowd goes wild, chanting his name, throwing themselves on the ground to grab the prize. At that very second, the system chimes a 1,000 times bonus, dropping 9 million. Laughing out loud, he realizes he won't need to worry about cash anytime soon. Then, the kid thanks a buddy for his support, handing him an ultra-rare pill. Wang Chen goes into shock and refuses on the spot, finding the gift way too valuable. But our boy takes no excuses, forcing the item right down his friend's throat. Immediately, the system flags a 100 times return, dropping a tier 2 pill. Taking a deep breath, the buddy warns that the villain has connections, telling him to hunt for a protector. This warning makes perfect sense, since that's exactly the next part of his master plan. Without delay, he arrives at the outer sect office, fully ready to work his magic. Inside, finds some crazy dude hyper-focused on alchemy, messing with a flaming cauldron. This manager named Jion keeps a sour face, locked into a highly dangerous process. In total peace, he walks in, drops his name, and politely greets the man. Except the guy doesn't even turn around, throwing him a look of pure disgust without saying a peep. Ignoring his presence, the dude cranks up the furnace flames out of nowhere. No one saw that coming. The thing forcefully explodes right then, scaring the kid. Through the smoke, the manager puts on a show, pretending to be furious about the failure. The cynic points a finger, blaming the MC for ruining the batch and telling him to get lost. However, the kid is sharp, spotting the setup instantly and realizing someone's pulling the strings. Keeping his cool, he approaches the yelling man, asking him not to rush things. Without hesitation, slams 50,000 spirit stones on the table, calling it a little treat. Magically, the guy changes his tune, flashing a huge smile and promising to fix everything ASAP. Zhao Mu gives a mocking smirk, thanking him for that sudden change in attitude. Warns that he only cares about cash, but insists he never betrays his clients. Then the MC pulls out 10 more money bags out of nowhere, leaving the manager speechless. Whispering, the old man calls the kid closer, wanting to spill the tea in secret. Sneakily, he uses some stones to spell out the mastermind's name right on the floor. Man, at that moment, the kid's eyes go wide, reading Chu Zhao Ran's name right there. Remembers right away that this fox holds major influence and has spies in every single corner. This intel triggers a red flag, meaning sticking around there is just asking to get caught. Racing against the clock, the boy hops onto his sword and bolts out of there at crazy speed. From up high, he distances himself from the office, his brain buzzing with a brand new plan. The target is an isolated area packed with purple roofs, where he starts doing some spying. Snooping around from up there, finds it super weird seeing 2 guys leaving Lulu's room. To make things worse, he immediately recognizes the big shot Long Tianxiang hanging with Elder Lu Haikong. Drops that it's finally time to schedule the girl's wedding with the genius before heading out. With full arrogance, the swordsman guarantees he's marrying her right after winning the hunt. And so the two walk off laughing, while our boy catches all the drama from afar. Rushing over, he knocks on her door glowing with a golden aura, asking if anyone is around. The girl opens the door instantly, flashing a huge surprised smile seeing him visit. Once inside, he questions her about the wedding and gets brutally cut off by the furious girl. Right as there's that, she sits next to him wanting to know why he dropped by. The kid explains that the Chu Fox blocked his entry into the sect. Annoyed, the girl promises to challenge her rival as soon as her power stabilizes. But then the tone shifts and she drops a smile, thanking him for all the help. Stepping real close, she ignores the warning that his firepower was pushed to the limit. With zero warning, the crazy girl drags the guy into an intensive training session against his will. Glancing behind the screen, you can only catch the shadows of this super heavy cultivation session. Later on, the youth falls asleep completely drained yet peaceful. Stretching out, Zhao Mu finds it weird that the system only handed over a 50 times bonus. The screen then explains that repeating the same training partner lowers the reward tier. Looking at the girl, he realizes focusing all that energy on just one person doesn't pay off. Instantly, the hustler concludes the best move is helping multiple students to farm more bonuses. He ends up saving that idea for later, sitting down to meditate with pure focus on his power. And that's where it gets crazy. A golden light explodes, and he levels up twice in one go. Holding the empty flask, he mourns the lack of energy for the 5th tier. It becomes obvious this holy body is a bottomless pit that's going to demand a massive amount of resources. Out of nowhere, a weird noise catches our hero's attention. Staring at the window, the guy asks out loud who's out there snooping around. Boom. This is where it gets good. An overpowered woman just spawns right in front of him. Terrified, he recognizes the figure and stutters, calling the lady a saint. The woman glares right back, demanding to be called by her actual name and Zishan. Shaking a bit, the hero stands up asking what this veteran wants with a mere student. She just keeps that cold stare in dead silence, leaving a super tense vibe in the air. Was a quick move, the boss pokes an energy finger right against the guy's stomach. Zisheng warns she's gonna drain his yang energy for her own training, shocking the kid. Wasting no time, he steps back and swats her hand away to protect himself. Our MC asks her to stop playing around, since a master wouldn't even need his help. But the woman gets pissed, unleashes a heavy purple aura, and ironically praises the good boy. Feeling the pressure, the hero gets thrown backward, shivering from all that magical force. Cold as ice, the saint orders him to stop stalling and just accept it. Laughing nervously, Zhao Mu gives in, but secretly swears he's gonna turn this game around. To keep his cool, the kid throws in some training advice and actually catches her off guard. Super flustered, she turns her face away to hide how annoyed she is by his sheer audacity. She then summons a purple portal out of pure spite, telling him to stay dead quiet. The magic vortex sucks the duo inside, vanishing with them in the blink of an eye. At the end of the trip, they drop into a secret cave featuring a house carved right into a tree. Snapping out of the spell, the master walks straight past and tells the guy to keep up with her pace. Straight to the point, she lets him know this is her hideout and nobody's gonna interrupt them. Zhao Mu immediately strikes a meditation pose to cooperate, leaving the woman totally confused. Quickly, the veteran mentions he doesn't need any poses because she's already got a plan. He just gives a goofy smile, figuring she just loves being in control of all the magic. But there's no time to think. A magic ribbon seals his mouth shut in an instant. Without any hesitation, she ties the guy to a wooden post and orders him to focus on the energy. Glaring at the kid, the master warns that if he doesn't listen, things are gonna get real ugly. Next thing you know, the poor guy gets tossed headfirst right into a purifying water spring. The saint turns her back, telling him to wash up in the water to open his magic channels. Rocking a new robe, he actually thinks he's dreaming, but gets yelled at right on the spot. Through sheer magic power, the boss simply levitates the boy and shucks him across the room. He hits the ground hard, screaming again, while a bunch of purple ribbons tie him down. Pinned to the stone bed, the hero accepts it's impossible to escape the clutches of this tough lady. Suddenly, the kid opens his eyes looking completely confused. Instead of the saint, two cat girls named Lele and Yuan spawn right there. Getting closer, they act offended and ask if they are pretty enough. One of them explains that the boss sent the duo to gather his energy. Our boy gets ticked off, thinking the leader is underestimating him with these copies. Losing his patience, he grabs one of the girl's arms, giving her a massive scare. He quickly announces he's going to show the duo his true true strength in a heavy training session. Frantically, the sister begs him to take it easy on the energy transfer. With fire in his eyes, Zhao Mu glares at the feline and leaves the poor girl terrified. Screams echo through the night, while the camera focuses on the cherry blossoms outside. And this intense energy clash keeps dragging on for quite a while. Hours later, the girls collapse from exhaustion, but the MC is still chilling in the spring. Noticing the water's buff, he admires his own stamina for still being completely fresh. The two of them curse the guy under their breath, who just stares back asking what their deal is. Next, they beg the boss for forgiveness, blaming our hero's cracked physique. And Zishang blushes a bit, admitting she saw the training and lets the duo off the hook. Right away, she orders the servants to drop the gathered energy and go recover. Without questioning it, the duo agrees on the spot and flees out of there real quick. The protagonist shows up already dressed, staring at the master looking kinda confused by everything. Smiling, he asks if he did a good job, but she shuts him down saying it was just okay. To make up for it, the woman tosses a pack pouch as payment for his service. He flips out with joy seeing 10 million stones and 4 insanely OP pills. Man, at this exact moment he seriously praises the veteran's generosity. The woman turns her face away and immediately snaps, asking why he hasn't bounced yet. In a cheeky tone, the guy suggests a direct training session with her to score way better results. That leaves the boss completely flustered, entirely speechless and unable to answer back. Yelling for him to get out, she forcefully throws the kid right into a magic portal. And just like that, the vortex shuts fast, shipping our hero far away. Landing back in his own room, he still feels kind of dizzy from the trip. Soon enough, he figures out where he is and reflects that the saint's methods really are wild. The panel chimes in that his Qi-Yang body leveled up again from that heavy training earlier. At that exact second, a golden aura explodes from his body during meditation. Zhao Mu smirks, confirming his theory that switching up partners drops a bigger bonus. He also concludes that by being useful to the master, his spot in the sect is fully secured. Back at the retreat, the boss stares at the golden bowl, hoping the power is pure. But then the image of the kid with her helpers crosses her mind, making her click her tongue. Without overthinking it, she downs the energy cup in one go with a flushed face. A pink aura takes over her, swearing she won't be affected by a human cauldron. Watching it all, the servants gossip that their leader is spacing out from the harvested power. Bright and early, the daily routine restarts down at the outer sect. Lulu wakes up yawning, looking super lazy in her bed. Looking over, she finds the kid meditating while surrounded by golden light. The girl praises his dedication, but he claims he just felt inspired to level up. To his surprise, she invites him to challenge the heavenly stairway together. Getting kinda paralyzed, he processes the girl's invitation popping up out of nowhere. This place is an ancient secret realm, hidden right behind a giant portal. With 12 floors, whoever reaches the third tier instantly bags a spot in the sect's top 100. And that's where it gets crazy. 4-3 actually spawns golden core tier demons. Along the way, the young girl warns that the fox is ranked 9th, having reached level 4. Our boy mentions he didn't need that much help, but she insists the gains are mutual. She explains she wants to prove who's stronger, humans or demons. Thinking about it, the boy remembers this rivalry in the sect goes way back. With a smile, he points out that since he's an outer student, they can go together. The duo arrives right on time in front of the Heavenly Stairway's purple portal. Nearby, some students complain about the monsters, whining about failing on a 3rd floor. At the same time, the crowd hikes up new Tai for jumping 47 ranks all at once. Cocky as hell, the bully guarantees that taking rank 79 was pure talent. Suddenly, he locks eyes with a mysterious girl glaring from afar. The chick tells him not to forget her little favor and demands he finishes the mission. Man, right then, the brute shakes in his boots and quickly accepts the order. Turning his head, he catches Zhao Mu arriving with Lulu right there. Immediately, the giant points a finger, mocking the girl for hanging with a leech. But the girl fires back, reminding him that this pretty face already wiped the floor with him. To avoid the drama, the hero calls the guy a loser and pulls his friend away. Boiling with rage, the villain erupts in a red aura and charges in violently. The madman throws a heavy punch, and the kid hides Lulu right behind his back. Except the deadly strike gets blocked instantly by our MC's emblem. Right away, a system screen pops up, making the duel between the two official. Worried, the young girl begs him to refuse, yet the guy claims he knows what he's doing. The kid then suggests that a little brawl is no fun at all without a wager. Without thinking twice, New TA drops his own flying sword right on the table. Matching that boldness, he bets his storage ring on the fight. Now, the two just glare at each other with pure bad blood in their eyes. Hearing the drama, a crowd quickly gathers to watch the beef unfold in the courtyard. Tons of haters whisper about his pure yang, trash trash-talking the kid as a massive sellout. Amidst the crowd, Shu Jiaoran shows up, finding it hilarious to see the hero with his new lover. Lulu shoots daggers at her rival from afar, but the fox couldn't care less about the dirty look. Smiling wickedly, the villain decides she's gonna crush this little bird once and for all. She orders the brute to show no mercy, and the goon swears he won't disappoint. Out of nowhere, the enemy's body expands, exploding with a gnarly scarlet aura. Desperate, the senior sister screams at the top of her lungs, telling the kid to watch out. Warring his attack mame, the giant beast charges in while the hero waits completely calm. This wild impact creates a red blast that shakes up the entire arena. From the stands, one student realizes that technique belongs in the top 100 ranking. Meanwhile, the fox taunts, claiming the kid might get seriously wrecked playing this game. Faking petty, she remarks he'd still be breathing if he had just been a good little puppy. And just like that, everything changed. Her jaw drops, seeing the attack get completely blocked. Clearing the dust, our hero is holding the bull right by the horns midair, pinned by his head. The giant monster screams, unable to believe his enemy's raw strength. Mocking him, the guy asks if he skipped breakfast to throw such a weak punch. Down in the crowd, Shu gets furious, ordering the useless clown to swallow the secret pill ASAP. Left with no choice, the big guy pulls out the red meds, claiming the MC forced his hand. The madman tosses the pill in his mouth, biting down with pure, unfiltered hatred. Instantly, a scarlet explosion pushes our boy backward from the sheer force. He quickly morphs into a bizarre minotaur, going full bullhead mode. Shocked to the core, Lulu yells for the whole world to hear that the guy turned into an ox. Without holding back, she accuses the fox of blatantly cheating, but the villain doesn't even flinch. Smiling, Chu explains that the pill only draws out the hidden power inside his blood. To her, that right there is pure natural talent, so there's zero cheating involved. Furious, the monster stomps his hoof on the ground, swearing to crush our protagonist. The brute takes off like a blur using the after-image collision technique. From a distance, the crowd watches in shock at the bull's ridiculous speed, but the kid dodges by a hair, flashing that classic mocking smirk. Even without a direct hit, the sheer air pressure tears right through his clothes. He glances at his shoulder in surprise, realizing just the wind caused that cut. At the exact same moment, the ground explodes, opening up a massive crater right there. This brutal impact even shakes the Heavenly Stairways portal. The whole crowd agrees that the demonic race's physical strength really is unbeatable. Stepping out of the dust, the Minotaur gets up, snorting with pure rage. The giant beast glares from afar, screaming that he's not walking away from this one. With zero hesitation, Zhao Mu praises his rival's strength and glows with golden light. And that's where it gets crazy. He clenches his fist, and his energy just explodes. Our hero rushes the villain, going all out on a massive counterattack. Channeling all his power, his fist gets fully charged with blinding light. In the blink of an eye, he lands a heavy-duty punch right to Niu Tase's face. The massive blow sends the brute flying across the arena like a ragdoll. Soon enough, the guy splats against the ground, kicking up another cloud of dust. Up in the bleachers, the fox is left speechless by that wild scene. Nobody can believe the beast just got knocked out cold with a single hit. Laughing effortlessly, the MC leaves the crowd drooling over his holy body. Immediately, Lulu runs over and gives the champion a tight hug. She swears she never doubted him, but he gets super flustered with the crowd watching. Filled with rage, Shu glares at her fallen goon and calls him completely useless. Livid, she orders the crew to drag him out of there, and the guys obey. However, the protagonist interrupts the rescue, telling the crew to freeze. A lackey shakes in fear, asking what else the winner could possibly want right now. Flashing a money bag, he plays the good guy and offers them a donation. With that, the guy tosses 10,000 stones their way to cover the medical bills. The crowd goes wild over the humiliation, with some people even trying to grab the cash. Instantly, the system returns the amount 100 times over, yielding a clean 1 million. And wouldn't you know it, the fox walks up clapping in the most fake way possible. She touches his face, acting all sweet, praising the guy's cracked power. Looking super seductive, the villain begs the MC to come back, promising him the world. This heavy vibe creates massive tension as their auras clash right in the air. The kid shuts it down real quick, telling her she's not worthy of a single thing. Boiling with anger, Shu erupts with pink magic, screaming for some answers. To block the fight, Lulu steps right in the middle, releasing a protective blue aura. She warns that her partner isn't some toy to be tossed aside out of nowhere. Fearless, the young girl points a finger and swears she'll snatch her spot in the ranking. Turning her back, she pulls the hero away, guaranteeing the villain's gonna pay dearly. Zhao Mu praises his friend's attitude, who gets super cocky with all the a clout. Just like that, the duo touches the magic portal and steps into the dungeon for real. Left behind, the fox curses them both as punks in a blind rage. With fire in her eyes, she swears she won't let this humiliation slide. Everyone just talks about the heavy rivalry between the two beauties right there. Watching from afar, a horned guy named Mu Ao spies on the clash of egos. Miles away, the sword tomb reveals itself like a mountain hidden in the clouds. The genius Long Tiansheng trains hard, wrapped up in a wild purple aura. He takes a deep breath, tuning out the rest of the world with his eyes shut. Then the floating blade behind him vibrates, tearing through the wind with a wicked sound. With a simple gesture, the swordsman makes the blade dance around him, and opening his eyes with perfect calm, he replies that it was just okay. Right then, Nuo comes running to give Senior Long a report. The goon gossips about Lulu fighting over a boy and claims he fears for his honor. Visibly annoyed, Long summons energy swords for being interrupted with rumors. Hits the giant right on the mark, making him curl up in pain. He immediately panics, apologizes for the slip-up, and promises to bounce right away. But the swordsman tells the guy to freeze before he even takes a single step. Sweating cold, the brute turns around and asks if there's any other order. That results in an energy strike that throws the poor guy far away. From the ground, the lackey asks, completely lost on why he got hit. Long orders him to stop whining and looks straight at his own chest. Glancing down, he goes into shock, seeing a glowing sword mark right there. The explanation is simple, that right there is a fragment of his sword intention. Coldly, the senior says there are always ants who don't know their place. Then he gives the order for the goon to delete our boy off the map. All the lackey does is smile, feeling his chest glow, thanking him for the chance. Inside the heavenly stairway, Jiaomu and Lulu walk through an all-white area. She warns that the place counts floors on its own, and since he's a rookie, they'll get separated. The kid agrees without a fuss, but gets super confused when the girl steps real close. And that's where it gets crazy. She steals a kiss and leaves him blushing hard. Stepping back right after, the girl tells him to be careful and vanishes into the fog. Zhao Mu watches the scene, thinking she's the one who needs to watch her back. With nobody around, he takes a deep breath and preps for whatever comes next. Hears a weird noise right after, noticing a giant shadow popping up. This darkness soon reveals a bizarre, furious rooster jumping out of the mist. Quickly, a savage werewolf shows up, flashing its fangs right at him. To finish the squad, a monstrous giant toad with a massive tongue joins the duo. The three beasts circle our boy, eager for the takedown. In a quick leap, the MC dodges the wolf and sends the beast to the floor with a kick. He's blown away, noticing the first floor already spawns foundation tier beasts. Rolling like a bowling ball, the werewolf tries to get payback by charging in hard. Zhao Mu uses his technique, multiplies into 3, and playfully dodges the rush. That brings a smile to the kid's face, who announces it's his turn to strike. Fires off a golden energy sphere that catches the monster trio completely off guard. The impact is massive, sweeping and deleting the beasts in the blink of an eye. Right there amidst the victory, our boy snaps his fingers, thinking it's way too easy. Everything gets better when a screen pops up handing him 3 reward options. Going straight for the book, he discovers a flawless technique for his yang body. And without a second thought, he points at the book and the item spawns in his hand. Reading it on the spot, he learns he needs to guide the sun's flame right into his body, pulls the solar power into his palms, making his skin radiate a heavy fiery glow. This test attack makes him fire a blast that wrecks the boulders nearby. Fully satisfied, he smiles, calling out the second floor and steps onto the teleporter. Floor number 3 soon welcomes our boy, who casually walks out of an energy portal. Far away, Lulu fights a giant minotaur, dodging and swinging her sword down, beating the beast. A notification grants her the right to a prize for her wins. A massive crowd outside cheers for Lulu hitting the top 50, almost catching up to Nalan G. No one saw that coming. The panel blinks out of nowhere and Zhao Mu's name pops onto the list. They go into shock, noticing the kid hit the top 1,000 way too fast. Watching it all, Chu Zhaoran bites her hair in annoyance, thinking they trained a ton. Suddenly, as absurd energy takes over the place, with some blue-haired guy arriving, the crowd freezes up, seeing Nalan G, the half-Keelan prodigy from the outer gate. 2 gossips in the mix whisper he's handsome, but way too cocky about his bloodline. He ends up hearing the chatter and stops right in front of the duo, who shake with fear. Out of nowhere, the prodigy's arm transforms and gets covered in white scales. Delivering a single punch, he puts the gossips to sleep right on the floor. Nalan G checks the damage, arrogantly stating he hates people talking behind his back. The fox walks up asking what he wants here, and the guy plays completely dumb. Mocking her, he laughs in her face, saying her little boy ran off with another girl. This is where it gets good. The girl erupts in a purple aura, claiming he's begging for a beatdown. An energy strike flies his way, but Nalan dodges easily just to taunt her. Closing the gap, Recap, Ran tries to land a punch but he locks her wrist down, and pointing just one finger, the dude neutralizes everything and leaves the girl in shock. Behind her spawns a giant shadow, scaring the chick with Niwao's presence. Everyone recognizes the brute as the 8th ranker from the inner circle. Without backing down, she asks if he came to avenge his brother and ain't scared of Lulo. Clapping back instantly, he flexes the mark on his chest and says Senior Long gave the call. Naelan-gi bursts out laughing, commenting that his trip is already paying off. With a wicked look, he finds it awesome to have the chance to see the rookie fight a master. Right at that moment, someone yells to check out the leaderboard panel. Everybody sees the kid already cracked the top 200, leaving the whole crowd speechless. Going back to the heavenly stairway, our protagonist is already on the 2nd floor. Inside, the challenge is a giant monkey that he roasts using the burning sun palm. Another floor cleared and the system unlocks a saber technique, a pill, or a surprise item. Since the technique and the pill are pretty useless to him, he picks the mystery item. The prize is a tier 2 flying sword called White Jade Frost. Spawning in his hand, the blade quickly floats, controlled by a simple flick of his fingers. He pushes forward with the weapon spinning around him, already plotting who's getting that treat. On the flip side, the kid freezes up, not fully grasping the new scene. A massive horde of monsters spawns right in front of him, packed with giant wolves and snakes. Now it makes perfect sense why people need the core formation to get past this point. Firing up his golden aura, he decides to take this chance to test his limits, and charging straight in, our MC yells that the best defense is a good offense. Ruthlessly, one of the beasts shoots a laser right at him, wrecking the entire floor. Caught by surprise, he barely blinks before another monster jumps right onto his neck. It's a giant lizard biting his leg, making him think he's about to be deleted. The beast clenches its jaw full force, trying to crush everything in its path. And just like that, everything changed. The monster's teeth completely shatter against the MC's skin. Sitting in the dust, Zhao Mu is mind-blown that not even a single scratch hit his yang body. Almost without a pause, a flying beast dives from the sky to land a strike. But our boy dodges smoothly and instantly uses another beast's back as a trampoline. Surrounded by defeated enemies inside his golden aura, he actually finds it all pretty fun. Staring down the next wave, he realizes this armored body is his VIP ticket to scoring your like on this video.